Hello and welcome to the channel. This is just a dummy run shoot of my BVS Batman. I decided to put a weapon back in his hand instead of the batarangs, which you can see by his feet. So I think I'll come in close just to get a look at that dynamic. Keeping with this gun, I'm more or less looking at the way the cloak flows off the figure. Quite like the way that looks, and at some point I'll probably have him on the platform alongside Wonder Woman and Henry Cavill Superman, so I can recreate the scene in which that trio takes on Doomsday, created by Lex Luthor. So let's try another pose. I'm just trying the head down pose, and I've widened his stance. And I've said in the past that blue wash for the suit, I would have preferred if it was a darker colour, but I do like the figure. Could have been a bit bulkier like my Ben Affleck armoured Batman, because this is Ben Affleck and his what I call the city look. We'll leave it there and see if we can do something else. I'm actually looking at the cape as well, see if it naturally falls off the back of the figure. So I'll put a batarang in his hand now. Now I've got his gun arm raised and lifted his head. Now I don't know if you lost the license for the likeness of Ben Affleck. You can see it's there, but not as good as the armoured version of him. Okay, just getting a side profile. That cape still looks okay. Okay, this is a side-on view. Quite like that. This is not so much a figure pose out, but it's more or less seeing how the cape flows off the figure. But it will give me some ideas for future reference. And that's not a bad shot on that angle. I'll come in for a close-up. And I think I'll definitely keep this gun with him. The other gun on the smaller scale level does work. I have used that gun, but that is with my Spawn figure. Let's try another one. And this is a square on shot. Trying to create a mood there with this figure as well. Also trying to perfect my anti-wobbling technique, because I am holding the camera by hand. And that gets better as I do more filming. Okay, that's looking okay. Let's try the one that's in my head presently. Okay, kind of a side profile. Everything I'm filming so far actually doesn't look bad at all on camera. But I'm still trying to keep that cape flowing naturally off the figure. I'm experiencing a little bit of light flare, but that's understandable on a daytime shoot. That is a nice close-up. I'll keep the pose the same but change the angle and create a different dynamic. Okay, let's try that. That seems to be the better angle, almost sideways on, and I like the flow of the cape. That's not bad. I do like this angle here because of that cape. It flows naturally off the figure. So again, the square on, I've lifted the weapon as high as I can, as though he's taking on an aiming shot. Again, the cape looks fine, hanging naturally off the figure. Yeah, I'm going to tilt his head towards the weapon as though he's trying to really target his opposition. But it's a nice pose, especially in the cape section. Okay, so I've tilted the head towards the weapon more and lowered that weapon a little bit so you get more of the chest profile of the bat symbol and him. Not bad. But of course I've got to get him onto the old one knee pose. That's a nice angle there. And the cape looks fine. Okay, let's try one knee pose. And I'm happy with that pose. The hardest part about the one knee pose is to get the cape naturally dropping off the figure, and it looks okay, especially where it hits the platform and it's still got the head tilted to one side. And yeah, you can see there it naturally lies on the platform, doesn't look ruffled. So that's a pose I will definitely consider when my filming is over of this character, Ben Affleck Batman. His surname is always a tongue twister for me. I don't know why, it's a psychological block. But yeah, that's a nice pose. Let's try. Keep him in there and putting the batarang in his hand. And I do like that. I've tilted that head right up, so he's looking at any attacks coming from the skies, and certainly the cloak is doing everything it's supposed to do. Okay. As I said, that cape is, on most Batman figures, probably the most fiddly diddly one to deal with, because you might get a great pose, but if that cape doesn't flow naturally off the figure and looks ruffled, kind of spoils the overall effect. And that's a nice angle. Do like that. Now I'd love to grab a foot stand so I can do some movement poses. I'll probably try it, see what it's like. Okay, let's see if we can grab a foot stand. So I'll put him on a foot stand because it's a pretty stable figure without it, but foot stand assures it's not going to topple over during filming, so I hope I haven't jinxed myself. His pose is the same, but I've just straightened out his legs because obviously he's standing up now. Not bad. And again, I'm pleased with the way the cape flows off the figure. Okay, let's try and get some movement in the leg area. Okay, I'm using the John Wick foot stand as though it's not ideally suited to a Todd McFarlane figure because of the hole pegs, but it's kind of there in the ballpark. I wanted to get the back leg actually off the platform, but I'll have to work on that. But there is movement, and I do like the dynamic, and most of all I like the way the cape flows. So I might keep the pose but pull that cape back, see what that looks like. Let's try that. Okay, there's less of the cape, but it is still in a naturally looking position. I've actually put the foot on the back leg, better planted, so he doesn't fall over. I like the pose. It's more than likely one of the favourite ones. Okay, let's try one more dynamic because we're approaching the 15-minute mark. That's not bad. So I'll pull the cape back round to the front of the figure. I've got his head down as though he's looking at his target. It looks quite good, that. That's nice dynamic there. Not bad from far away either. So yeah, pretty neutral pose. Cape is again behaving itself. And I've tilted his head down. Looking mean and moody, Ben Affleck as Batman. Let's tilt his head up, keep the pose but tilt the head up. Okay, so we're approaching the 15-minute mark, so I'm going to keep this pose but change the head position So he's looking up to begin with. I like that. So I'm going to get him looking straight ahead. So he's looking straight ahead. And we'll do one last one. Here's your last one. So here we go, the last one. And the cape finishing strong, flowing naturally off the figure. Went to 16 minutes, but that's okay. And I will tilt the head towards the floor, and that will be it. So the last one, cape still looking good. Doesn't look the same as it did without the camera, but it is the last one. That looks the same as the one before. So that was my dummy run of Batman Ben Affleck poses for future reference when I pose this figure out with Gal Gadot Wonder Woman and Henry Cavill Superman, to simulate the sequence in which those three took on Doomsday. And Batman says, and I'll just pause it there, "Is she with you?" "No, I thought she was with you." As they glare up at Doomsday. And that is the final shot of Batman Ben Affleck in the cape pose and figure pose review for future reference.